Hello. Imagine knowing that something in your life needs to change. You see it and you feel it. You may have even talked about it, but tomorrow comes and you continue doing exactly what you have always done. Why? Why do we do this? I'm Dr. Mark HaLi, population health researcher and implementation scientist, and I herald our humanity. This is the conversion, and thank you for joining me for another discussion. Throughout this season, we've examined moments when human life changed dramatically. We've talked about technological change, war, economic collapse, social transformation, pandemics, and even decline in powerful civilizations. All different events, but underneath them is a common story. Something changed, and human beings had to respond. So today, I want to turn the discussion around. Instead of examining the forces that create change, I want to examine the people experiencing it because there's something fascinating about us. Human beings can recognize change and still resist responding to it. Today's discussion is the psychology of denial. Denial doesn't necessarily mean that we don't see what's happening. Sometimes we see it perfectly well. We simply haven't accepted what it means for us. And that's an important distinction. Because accepting change may require more than changing our behavior, we have to consider a broader way, a broader way, a different perspective. It may require changing something we believe, something we expected, maybe even something we thought we knew about ourselves or the world around us. And that is uncomfortable. Think about the world we're living in right now. Artificial intelligence is rapidly changing what machines can do and what humans may be asked to do. We don't know yet exactly where this transformation leads, but we know that something significant is happening. And yet, many of us continue preparing for tomorrow as though tomorrow will operate by yesterday's rules. That's where denial becomes dangerous. Because denial doesn't stop change, it only delays our response to it. And the longer we delay, the fewer choices we have when adaptation finally becomes unavoidable. That's why this conversation matters. If we recognize that something is changing, the next question shouldn't immediately be, how do I stop it? Sometimes the better question is, what does this change require of me? Maybe I need to learn something. Maybe I need to reconsider an assumption. Maybe my community needs to organize differently. And maybe something that worked beautifully in the past simply isn't enough for what comes next. That isn't surrender, that's adaptation. Preparing for change doesn't mean abandoning everything from the past. Quite the opposite. Some things are worth protecting: our relationships, our humanity, our ability to think independently, our ability to care for one another. But protecting what matters may require changing how we support it. This is where from culture to CUREture comes in. Culture gives us inheritance. Yeah. It gives us traditions and it gives us institutions, expectations. and ways of understanding the world. But CUREture asks us to examine that inheritance consciously and carefully. What should we carry forward? What needs to change? And perhaps most importantly, what must we refuse to lose? That is not simply a social question, it's personal because societies don't adapt by themselves. People do, communities do, families do. And before any of us can intentionally build something different, we first have to accept that something different may be necessary. For most of this season, I've looked outward, and I've asked you to look outward. And we've studied history and examined the forces that disrupted humanity. Today, I'm asking us to look inward, because perhaps the greatest obstacle to preparing for the future isn't that we can't see it coming. Maybe it's that accepting what we see would require us to change. So here's today's conversation question. What change do you already see happening around you that you may still be living as though it isn't happening? Think about that. Because the future doesn't wait for us to become comfortable with it. And perhaps the hardest conversation of all is the one that must happen within ourselves. This is the conversion from culture to CUREture. Until next time, be well.